Changes are coming to the Disneyland Resort in the near future, and that's the very near future. We're talking about alcohol in the parks, more alcohol, more than what we've heard already. A possible end to fireworks permanently, fewer annual pass holders, more after dark events. These are our predictions for Disneyland Resort in 2024. But let's get started. Lately, we've been asked often, when do we think that Disney is going to start selling annual passes again, Magic Keys? Now, it wasn't that long ago that they were sold out completely. No sales at all of any key. Since then, there have been a couple of instances where they've opened up sales for just a few days. People were lucky enough to get their hands on one, but then they closed off sales again completely. Well, actually, the last iteration, the last time they opened up sales, they left Inspire Key open. As a matter of fact, you can still buy an Inspire Key today. But Believe, Enchant, and Imagine, all of those keys are still unavailable for purchase. When are they coming back? And therein lies our first prediction for 2024. I don't think they are. I don't think they are. I think things are going to stay just as they have been for a little while. I believe that because the previous cases where they did open up sales, there was a timing to when they happened, and it made sense. There was a rhythm to it a little bit. That timing for a third opportunity to buy annual passes again has passed. It's already gone. We missed that window. It's been a while since they've been available for sale, and I don't think they're coming back. Well, except for the Inspire Key, that's still going to remain available for sale. I think the idea here is that they want to sell just the Inspire Key. I think I've come around to the idea, and it's taken me quite a while to arrive at this idea, to agree that I think it's possible that Disney wants fewer annual pass holders in the park, fewer than there are already, which is not a lot considering how few they've sold or been able to sell over the past year or two. And if they are going to bring in any new annual pass holders, they don't want Imagine or Enchant or even Believe. They just want Inspire Keys. I mean, that's what it looks like, right? I've been saying for quite a while that Disney needs to get back on into the annual pass holder business. But I believe that, or I think that they think that they don't need annual pass holders. They still believe that. And I also think that one of the reasons why they have been able to maintain that position is that there may be other ways. They think that they can offset the losses, the lost revenue by not selling annual passes. They can offset that lost revenue by creating new revenue elsewhere, which is something that we're going to get to in a second. But for now, it is my prediction that we're not going to see any new Magic Key sales for a while except for the Inspire Key. Now, how long it's going to be until they change their mind, anybody could say. I thought they would have done it by now, so I'm not sure what the benchmark is for that to happen. They certainly have to be more desperate for revenue than they are today, which, by the way, they are, but they need to be more desperate than that based on what their actions are indicating these days. And here's the thing. The parks, it's less busy today, something we've been observing, a lot less busy today than it was pre-COVID, certainly. But it's still busy enough that they can continue down this path. It's the situation that I've asked the question, is this what they want? Are they okay with crowd levels in the park? Stay tuned, because we're going to have to see, because it takes a while for the evidence to sort of reveal itself when it comes to something that is cyclical, like annual pass sales, because they happen once a year. A person renews their pass once a year. They have an opportunity to buy, very infrequently. So it takes a little while for this thing to catch up. I guess check me in 2024, right about this time next year. In the meantime, I mentioned earlier that Disney might try to offset the lost revenue of Magic Keys. Now, that's interesting because Disney's kind of broke right now, and if they are going to try to recover that elsewhere, where is that revenue going to come from? Add to this understanding that Magic Keys are primarily a locals product. Magic Keys are often, or most often, sold, not exclusively, but most often sold to locals. And the answer to that first question, where's that revenue going to come from, could be to create more product and more experiences that are focused on that local annual pass holder. And it just so happens there is one program that has been very successful as of late, and it's the exact kind of thing that annual pass holders or locals eat up. The After Dark event. The hard ticket, paid separately from your regular Disneyland admission and paid separately from your Magic Key special event. Now, already, there's quite a few of these. There's quite a few After Dark events throughout the course of the year. Expect more. Some recurring, like Oogie Boogie Bash and Star Wars Nights. Some one-offs, like last year's Grad Night events. One that probably didn't work as well as some of the others. There was the Princess Night event. They're going to try to come up with new events, new themes, see what works, and then bring back the ones that really paid off. And that includes a very interesting one coming in 2024 that I believe is going to happen, and I believe most people are going to love. Stay tuned. We're going to get to that one in a second. Anyway, on that note, you might have seen that Disney put out a casting call, a very interesting casting call that piqued a lot of interest out there in social media. Disney is looking for a lookalike for Joe from the movie Soul, the Pixar movie Soul. Now, this call was specific to the Disneyland Resort, and the call asked that the person not only look like Joe from Soul, but that he also be able to play jazz piano. Now, you know, they've been putting a lot of time and effort into New Orleans Square lately. We've got Tiana's Palace, Tiana's Bayou Adventure, but I don't think that's where most people might think initially, oh, they're beefing up the New Orleans Square thing. I don't think that's the case. I don't think that this casting call is for a permanent addition. This is absolutely a temporary hire. My thinking is that that is one of those new ideas that they've come up with for 2024 for After Dark events, a New Orleans themed idea. How about Mardi Gras? A Mardi Gras themed After Dark event that's going to feature Joe from Soul. But those are specifics. Let's talk about that bigger picture. Why would they want to do more of these After Dark events? Well, as I understand it, they have been very successful for Disney. They are definite revenue generators. And they also, as I mentioned, they appeal to the demographic of that guest that they may be losing business from. So there are going to be some annual pass holders out there who can't get a new pass, who don't want to get the Inspire key, but they still want to go to Disneyland. This is the kind of event that they would go to, that the annual pass holder would go to, the After Dark events. So though they might lose that Magic Key revenue, they're going to get more business, new business with these After Dark events, assuming that they do grow the amount of shows that they have been doing over the past year. And this works because it's the kind of experience that locals naturally gravitate towards. Things that they can do at Disneyland that go beyond the normal day-to-day visit of Disneyland. They want something different, something new, something that you can't get on any other park visit. I mention that often when I go to these events. Sure, it's expensive. I'm not crazy about spending $150, for each ticket, but it's definitely a thing that I can do at the park that I can't do any other day of the year. It's the only chance I'm going to get to do those things. It's the only chance I'm going to get to see Emperor Palpatine. It's the only chance I'm going to get to see Tom Morrow or the Carousel of Progress couple. It's the only chance I'm going to get to go trick-or-treating at a Disney park. And for the locals, that's a real sweet spot. For many people, it's the only reason why they go to the parks these days. And for locals, that hits a real sweet spot because that's what drives us. That's what brings us to the parks. The new merch lines, the seasonal food, the new decorations for Halloween or Christmas, an Easter egg hunt, they hit a spot that normal Disneyland can't. So it is my prediction that we are going to see a Mardi Gras event here at the Disneyland Resort 2024, February 2024, and more beyond that, but not Christmas. We're still not going to get a Christmas After Dark event. But one event that I predict we will see in 2024 is a Halloween party at Disneyland. Oh, we're still going to get Oogie Boogie Bash, immensely popular, obviously by the whole drama with not being able to get a ticket. People want to go to Oogie Boogie Bash really bad. They want to go to Oogie Boogie Bash so bad that they will also take a second crack at doing a Halloween event at Disneyland as well. And before you say that's crazy, they would never run concurrent events at Disneyland like that. A Halloween event at DCA and at Disneyland, that's wild. There's already precedent for that at Walt Disney World this year. For years, Walt Disney World Magic Kingdom has had the Very Merry Christmas Party. They've been doing that for a long time. They're doing it again this year, where we are not. But that show, very popular show, great parade. People love that show so much that Disney is now doing a second show, a second Christmas party, a paid Christmas party at Hollywood Studios, Jollywood Nights. And between these two events, between that and the Very Merry Christmas Party at Magic Kingdom between November 9th and December 25th, there will hardly be any days at all where there's not a Christmas party happening at Walt Disney World. A handful of days. Pretty much every single night, there's going to be some kind of party happening between one of those two parks. So yes, Disney is capable, or at least they are willing to try and run concurrent events at both parks, at Disneyland and DCA. And if we do see the return of Mickey's Halloween Party at Disneyland next year, they won't even have to worry about the competition from the crowds at Galaxy's Edge. And if you don't get that reference, ask me in the comments and I'll let you know what I'm talking about. Otherwise, let's get to our next prediction for 2024, and that's alcohol. More of it. We know already that Disney is going to be selling alcohol very soon at Carnation Cafe, River Belle Terrace, and Cafe Orleans. And I think that most everybody would agree that this is just the beginning. So many people are saying this is, they're boiling the frog, as it were. Which is true, but my prediction is that this is not a long game that they're playing. They're going to cook that frog. I believe that we're going to see beer in common areas, not just in table service restaurants, but beer service in common areas. Imagine beer service at the Golden Horseshoe, for example, or maybe a proper mint julep at the new Tiana's Palace. And I believe that could happen as soon as maybe February of this year, after the holiday season. Disney has been in a constant search for the past couple of years for new revenue streams, revenue which did not exist at all in the past. And this is to feed that constant race of increasing revenue so that they can show year-over-year gains. And I believe that they've already been shown enough support, enough opt-in, buy-in from the public that they're good to go with alcohol at Disneyland. Maybe not by every guest, but enough guests to show support that there's no reason for them not to keep going once they hit that plateau or once they start selling alcohol at Carnation Cafe. And I think it could even go beyond, as I mentioned, beer service at Golden Horseshoe or a proper mint julep at Tiana's Palace. I think that there's a possibility that we could even go so far as, let's say, like a mobile beer cart that's out there in the streets. Like the carts you see already, but they're selling churros. Instead of churros and popcorn, they're selling beer. Now, I don't think that's kind of pushing it. I get that because they don't even do that at DCA right now. But watch DCA right now. Watch it very soon. Watch it during the holidays or something like that. Look for Disney to start testing mobile beer carts or something like that, or even just mixed drink carts in DCA. And if that works there, or if you see it there, then you're going to see it at Disneyland. I mean, if we're being objective about it, every other park sells alcohol. Every other competitor sells alcohol in the parks. And it actually seems like kind of a natural thing to do, let's say, on a parade route. Magic happens. It seems like a natural idea for them to sell, have a mobile cart going down the parade route. I mean, it seems like a natural idea. Now, if I had my preference, I think I prefer them not to sell alcohol in the parks. But alcohol is not a big deal for me, so I'm not sure if my vote is necessarily the one that matters. Not to mention, as I mentioned in a previous video, when you really think about it, I don't feel like alcohol has really impacted the level of guests, being respectful. I don't feel like they're any more rambunctious at DCA where there is alcohol. I don't feel like they're any less respectful at DCA than they are at Disneyland. I feel I get the same. Now, I'm not saying this is 100% the case, but I just don't feel like it's bad enough, or it's anywhere near bad enough where it's a cause for concern. I think we're going to be okay. It's really difficult, you guys. It's really difficult to get drunk to get proper drunk at a theme park, considering just the cost and you're constantly moving around and you're constantly eating. It's very difficult, I think, to really get to that point. But I digress. One thing that makes a lot of sense if they do go down this route are themed drinks. Drinks that are, and they do this already with treats, right? And they have a lot of themed non-alcoholic drinks. Every time there's an event, there's a new movie, or it's a season, the Halloween or Christmas or 4th of July, there's some new drink. Do that plus alcohol. That's a thing. And I feel like we can see that very soon. Like I mentioned, most of the treats that we see today at Disneyland they're not designed necessarily to be delicious, although a lot of them are, I have to say, but a lot of them are Instagram worthy. The whole point is to share them. That's the modern guest that I think that Disney is trying to reach with this, is that Instagram guest. That, the ones who want to buy the new fun drink, the new mixed drink to help celebrate Elemental. Imagine an Elemental drink. I can manage that, and I would take a picture of it and I would share it on social media. And I think one of the reasons why they're going in this direction is inflation. Everything costs so much these days, and people are having to be more mindful of what they spend their money on. But if there's one thing that history has taught us, the thing that people are not going to give up on is having a good time. Alcohol. They may not choose that opportunity to buy the new mini ears, but they're probably not going to pass up on the opportunity to get a new fun themed drink in the parks. Now, how true this winds up being, we'll have to wait and see. Again, like a lot of things, time will tell. An argument could be made that, is this a new revenue stream that Disney could just put on top of the existing revenue that they're earning, or will it come at the expense of something else? Are they robbing Peter to pay Paul? In other words, would you buy a glass of Stella and those new mini ears, or does one of those have to go? And if that's the case, then you haven't really done anything. If one of those has to go, Disney has accomplished little. Unless they believe, as I mentioned, that people are already giving up on the mini ears, so we might as well try to get their money somewhere else. Oh, and by the way, you've also got to pay for Genie Plus. I have no predictions, by the way. I'm sorry. I have no predictions on Genie Plus in this show, and I have no predictions on the reservation system. I put that in the same camp as I figured we'd already be through this by now, and we're still here talking about it, so I don't know when that's going to happen. Okay, and with that, we've got one more prediction for 2024, and I'm afraid to say that this one might sting just a bit. I believe that when Wondrous Journey ends at the end of August, as they prepare for the Halloween season, we get a separate Halloween fireworks show when that happens. I believe that when Wondrous Journey ends, it won't just be the end of that show, it will be the end of a traditional average fireworks show in the parks, period. This is something that I've been talking about for years. I've just been waiting for it to happen. I feel like Disney has been signaling this for a very long time. I don't think Disney wants to be in the fireworks business, at least not to the scope that they are today. Now, I do think we're still going to see fireworks for special events, Halloween, Christmas, New Year's, 4th of July, that kind of thing, obviously. But your day-to-day, fireworks show, I feel like come January, we will have seen the end of that. They're kind of doing that in a way. For many points in the year, it's weekends only. Fireworks are weekends only. During the week, it's just projections. I feel like that's going to be like a full-time thing. We'll get perhaps a new projection show with really great music and lots of fun new drinks to try. And maybe it's an opportunity for Disney to develop a drone show for the parks. I could see them doing this. As history has shown us, Disney likes to replace one expense with another, that they don't like to incur expenses at the same time. If they're going to build a new attraction, they're going to close another one. So if they want to start developing a drone show, they have to end the fireworks show. Plus, they're just super expensive anyway. As I mentioned, they've been trying to get out of this business for a while. I'm positive of that. And I do think that this is the year where it's finally going to happen. Now, I'm not sure what to expect in January, but I am 100% confident that Wondrous Journeys won't be back. And I am mostly confident that we will not see any other, they won't bring back any one of the other older fireworks shows as well. Mixed Magic, maybe? I mean, given the alternative, given nothing or Mixed Magic, I'll take Mixed Magic. That actually, that gets my head bopping and it gets my toe tapping. And, like I said, it's a fun opportunity and a chance for Disney to sell a few drinks and have a good time on Main Street at night. And with that, I think I'm spent. Let me know your thoughts, you guys. Let me know in the comments below. And then follow us on Instagram at _FreshBaked, on Twitter at FreshBakedDisney, that's fresh with no E, and on TikTok at FreshBakedDisney. And if you like our show and want to show your support, please do consider joining our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/freshbaked. Otherwise, thank you guys very much for watching. We love you. Be safe out there. Be kind to one another. Fresh Baked.